Yo, welcome to the video. Today, me and my friends decided to do a spin on a Jubilee video called Do All Zombie Players Think the Same? Essentially, we have a set of lines and I say a statement and then we all walk to the line that suits our opinion of the statement. The opinions will also be on screen so you can see them. They're only opinions, don't take them too seriously, it's just a bit of fun, okay? You can feel free to post your opinions down below. If you feel like we're completely wrong, then feel free to post your opinion and argue your case. I'm going to record it in theatre mode. Fortunately, the theatre mode file bugged, so we couldn't use that. But it's fine because I have the first person POV, which is honestly just as good and it works perfectly fine. The plan now is to stream 12 hours a day, 6 days a week on Twitch, as well as posting TikToks and videos, hopefully every day. Yeah, enjoy the video. Black Ops 3 is the best zombies game of all time. Interesting. I mean, obviously me and you, Lewis, we strongly agree. I mean, we're playing it right now.
Yep.
There's no zombies around us. Part of the reason it's the best game. There's loads of really good features, and yeah. Why are we on somewhat agree, Callum?
I think it's a good game, but I think it's like other games are also equal to like Black Ops 2.
Interesting. See, I would go with this game over Black Ops 2 because almost every Easter egg on this game can be done solo. You have Origins on this game, which is one of the Black Ops 2 maps. Every map on this game is, in my opinion, really, really good, whereas Black Ops 2, there's a few stinkers, like Transit and Dire Eyes. So,
Personally, I think Transit's good.
that's a horrible opinion, but sure.
It's the first Easter egg that I ever did. I enjoyed it.
Fair enough. Yeah, I also like the Gobblegums in this game. I think they add an extra dimension to the gameplay.
Oh yeah.
Original Zombies maps are better than multiplayer maps remade into Zombies maps.
Ooh.
Interesting. So I think Black Ops 3 is the perfect example of why I'm standing on strongly agree, and that's because just about every map, you don't really count Revelations, I guess, but the main 4 maps on this game are all original maps, and I think they're all amazing maps, and it allows them to craft the maps around the enemy types that are in the map, whereas when you're already starting with the map, the enemy types don't always fit in, and it doesn't fit perfectly together. You're on, what, somewhat disagree over there?
Yeah, it just feels different from like the original games. It's like completely different. It just doesn't feel like it's following like the same route, you know?
So you prefer maps like Nacked
Yeah. You reuse stuff in campaign and multiplayer.
and Cold War as well?
Yeah.
Interesting. Shadows of Evil is the best zombies map ever made.
Ooh.
Are you neutral?
Yeah. I mean,
Interesting.
there's some good aspects of it, but I mean, we all remember at the start, like very start of it, everyone hated it. It wasn't like, it was like everyone disliked it. But then as it gradually grew, more maps came out, people started liking it again. So
Yeah,
that's them in the middle.
I would kind of agree to that. I think they released it in a bad order. I think if Shadows was DLC 1 or DLC 2, it would have been received much better because it was more complicated than a lot of maps, so it took people a while to understand it. Whereas if you release DE first, where it's just a power switch, it would have given people a chance to get good at the game to understand it before playing Shadows. For me, Shadows is literally like, there is 2 things I would change about Shadows of Evil. I think the 2 things they could have changed is make the Easter egg single player and having the wonder weapon upgradable, which obviously was planned, and they must have just not finished it because it got removed. But I think if those two things are in the map, it is the definition of a perfect map. There's so many side quests with the Margot mask. The little Arnie's upgrade is amazing. The musical Easter eggs. There's so much in there that just makes the map so much fun, and it gives it amazing replayability. I love the lighting on the map. The sword is fucking amazing for high rounds. Like, yeah, everything about the map I think is amazing. You're on mostly agree. You're on agree, Lewis, I guess. So I'm assuming that you think there's other maps probably at a similar level.
Yeah, for example, Horizon Drac. But with Shadow of Evil, like you said, there's multiple like side Easter eggs. There's a good main quest. The map design of the map is very colourful and vibrant. But I just think that there's some other maps that can compete with Shadows. Like you got Horizon Drac and like the rest from other games.
Like Origins.
And that's why I'm on like strongly agree.
Yeah, fair enough. Infinite Warfare is a good zombies game. Right. I mean, me and Lewis have done all the Easter eggs. Obviously, Callum, you haven't done the Easter eggs of Infinite Warfare. So I think Infinite Warfare actually does a great job. I think the biggest flaw of Infinite Warfare is the fact it came straight after Black Ops 3, which is the best. So it makes it look dreadful. But I think a lot of the features in Infinite Warfare are actually just... They make the game so fun. Like, the movement in the game, if you go play it right now, you feel like you're running 100 miles an hour. It's so fluid. It's almost as good as Black Ops 3 movement. If it had B-hopping, it would be. It's like the Fate and Fortune card system, in my opinion, is really good. You charge it getting kills. It's kind of like a specialist system, but it's like completely free to use for the first 5 cards. You can only use it 3 times a game, so it isn't as OP and pay to win. The wonder weapons are creative as hell. The maps are really bright, really vibrant, really fun. They all have unique features like Rave mode and Rave in the Redwoods. You got the giant Krog on Attack the Radioactive thing. You got the aliens on Beast from Beyond. I think it has a lot of fun features and it's really underrated. Obviously, Director's Cut is just a whole other beast as well. So that's what I have to say.
What's your opinion on like why have you gone on Zetsubou?
I mean, me only been playing Zombies in Spaceland. That's like the only map that I played. I didn't really like it. It wasn't like compared to like other maps. Well, I mean, it was made by different people, but it just wasn't my kind of style. The only thing that's making me stay here is probably the fact that you could redo it all over again and get like a super ending, pretty much.
Yeah, I think it's a lot more fun once you have the director's cut because it makes some of the Easter eggs a lot easier. But saying that, it still is playable without it. The zombies mechanics are just a little bit different in the game, and it maybe takes a while to get used to, I think, for some people. The armor system in Cold War is better than the shield system in Black Ops 3. Ah, you're indifferent on this one, right? Lewis, you're on strongly disagree.
Yeah.
Why is that?
The reason I'm on strongly disagree is it's a change from what we've had all the way through Black Ops 3. And there was, on the first map, D Machine, there was only one armor stand, and it was in Pack-a-Punch. If you're on high rounds, and they've obviously have super sprinters on them high rounds, you're going to have to basically risk your run to then refuel your armor. Yes, you have carpenters, but if you're out of armor, and you also need to have the amount of salvage. And plus, it takes longer to also upgrade your armor, because the salvage price goes up. And that's why I highly disagree with the armor. And also with the shield, it's free. You don't have to pay to get it back, and it's really easy to find all the parts.
Fair enough. I'm on just disagree. I definitely think that the shield system from Black Ops 3 is much better, but I don't think the armor system is... I'm not a fan of it, but it's definitely an improvement on the Black Ops 4 shield system, where it costs points and just gets you infinite rounds and makes you invincible if you have Victorious Tortoise. I think that the armor system could definitely be improved. I definitely prefer BO3 shields. Specifically, the shield on this map I actually think is the best shield out of all of them, because you can upgrade it for free with the lightning, and it doesn't kill zombies infinitely like the one on Grodkrovi, but it does like protect you a little bit. It stuns the zombies if they hit you. So I think it's actually really good on this map. Shadows of Evil one's good as well, but I think Grodkrovi was where it started going downhill with the shield, because that shield was so overpowered and so broken. Like, people literally use it to get round 100 on that game, on that map rather. So I think I definitely prefer the shield system. The armor system, the reason I'm not completely on strongly disagree is it does add an extra dimension to the game with collecting salvage and repairing it, upgrading it, that sort of stuff. It makes the game more progressive throughout the rounds. Like, you slowly upgrade your armor, but I mean that is also a thing with Black Ops 3 with upgrading the shields. And Callum is indifferent, I guess.
Yeah, I like the armor system in Cold War. You know, it's much more easier and simplistic than going around the map looking for like the shield PCs. Whereas in Cold War, you pick up a level 1 armor or you get scrapped to get level 1 armor, and it's just simplistic because you also get armor plates as well when you kill zombies. It's just easier in my opinion.
Do you not think it makes it a bit too easy sometimes? Say you get cornered, it takes you like a minute to go down because these zombies just swing at you and your armor's just slowly depleting. It gives you have a lot more time to react essentially if you get trapped, whereas on Black Ops 3 you have to make a quick decision.
Yeah, but I feel like the bosses in Cold War in general just level the playing field when it comes to the armor because they tank your armor. It just equalizes the game, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough. The perk system and perk limit is better in Cold War. Okay, we all agree on this one. Interesting. So we're on somewhat agree. I think the fact that perk limit got removed, it's good and bad, I guess, because you can just get every perk, which is ironic because I have every perk right now. You can just get every perk, and you do feel really, really powerful, really OP. But the fact that by the time you get to like your 9th, 10th perk, it costs you like 7,000 points to buy one perk. And like, if you pay 7,000 for Tombstone, what are you doing? I think,
True.
yeah, it gets to a point where I don't know. Like, the perks in this game, if you with a pick 4 system, I understand there's crutch perks, but you can mix up your playing style. I actually like Infinite Warfare's best. Pick 5, I thought was a pretty good way of doing it, because even though there are crutch perks, it still gives you some flexibility on other perks like change choose, dead shot, that sort of stuff, mule munchies. Definitely needs to be improved from pick 4, but I think being able to buy every perk is a bit over the top. What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree. But like you said, with Cold War, if you have all 10 of those perks, obviously you're gonna feel overpowered because then you've got the tier 5s to come into place with them. So that also buffs them perks.
Yeah, I forgot to mention the upgrade system as well. Is I like it, but I'd rather reset every system so you have to repurchase everything because it adds more replayability. Callum?
Your thoughts, Callum?
I like the fact that there isn't like cap in Cold War, mainly because like if you're like playing on like BO3 where there's a cap, you're like, oh, I gotta get this, gotta get that, and then you're just like, oh no, I can't get this perk because I'm already maxed out. It just makes it feel much more better that you can get all the perks, whereas you can only get some. But of course, that makes you too OP, of course.
Yeah, do you not feel though in some Black Ops 3 maps, you had to earn those extra perk slots? Like this map, for example, you can grow plants to get the perks. and they're free, but it requires effort rather than just grinding points. Like there's actually, it's a more unique way of getting it. Like Garage, you can get a free perk for doing trials. Revelations, you do the wall run and everyone can get free perks. You can have all perks on 4-player, that sort of stuff.
I mean, you can still get free perks in Cold War for the side Easter egg, of course.
Yeah, but I'm saying you don't have to do the side Easter eggs to get the free perks. Cold War Zombies was a success.
Deciding, hold on.
Interesting, right. I'm on disagree. I don't think Cold War was a success, I can't lie. I think it was a big step backwards even from Black Ops 4. The Easter eggs I think were way too easy, and not replayable enough. There wasn't enough side Easter eggs in maps like Mauer and Firebase Z. The gameplay wasn't as fun. High rounds, it's just like, let's ramp the zombies up to run at 100 mile an hour to make it more difficult, when it kind of makes the gameplay just... It's to try and prevent camping, but it doesn't prevent camping at all. I'm not a huge fan of being able to buy ammo mid-round. And there's also only 4 maps, and Outbreak was just... it was a good try for a mode, but then they kept making more maps for it, and they just needed to leave it buried in the ground.
Yeah, I'm gonna add on to that with Outbreak. Like he said, there was more maps that they kept adding every season, and I think with that happening, it reduced the chance of having brand new, not remade round base, like kind of maps. Something to add on to the Dark Aether, and they also promised modes into the game where but we only have Cranked. And Cranked 2.
Don't forget Cranked 2. There is a second Cranked, you know, just in case the first one wasn't good enough.
Yeah, Outbreak was a good try, but I think they overused it.
I agree. Callum, you're neutral.
I'd say I'm in the middle of Cold War when it comes to the zombie Easter eggs and all that. I mean, it is different. They added new stuff, kind of. But, I mean, when it came to Outbreak, I didn't really like it. I mean, just the Easter egg in general was buggy to try and do.
I've crashed more times than I've completed the Easter egg.
But I feel like the story was completely different from what the original story was. It shows that it's changing. The story's not going to be like the same, repeat, rinse and repeat kind of thing. It's changing. I like that.
Fair enough. Black Ops 3 has the best specialist system.
You know I'm straight going. Slow approach. The slow approach.
I think Black Ops, the big difference obviously between Black Ops 3 and 4 and Cold War is Black Ops 3 you don't spawn with the specialist. Like right now we don't have a specialist weapon, and I think it's much better that way, because not only does it add an extra side quest to the game, which is so much more fun, it feels like it's like a reward when you get it, and it makes it so they can make it more overpowered. Like the specialists in this game are really OP, but they deserve to be OP because it takes effort to earn them. Obviously, charging them is the same in every game, but I think Black Ops 4 tried to do something good where the weapons would upgrade the more you use them. The problem with that system is they were already so OP to begin with that it didn't really matter if you upgraded them. The hammer, for example, of Valhalla, you always swing with it anyway. It doesn't matter if it's level 1, 2 or 3, you're still doing the same attack. But it was definitely a good concept. Cold War, I mean, everyone uses Ring of Fire. Is there even a specialist system? It's just Ring of Fire system. Like,
yeah,
there's no variety. It's just not as good in my opinion.
Yeah, like you said, it's just Ring of Fire. You barely ever see someone use, for example, Energy Mine. You can maybe see 1 or 2 people using Healing Aura if they're just new to the system.
Yeah.
Ether Shroud.
It's probably the second most popular, yeah.
The second most used.
If you're doing an Easter egg, you might use Ether Shroud, but if you're going for a high round, everyone's using Ring of Fire. Callum?
Yeah, I agree with
I
that.
mean, in Black Ops 3, I mean, wasn't it the first time that specialists had properly been used?
In zombies, yeah,
In Zombies, I mean,
and multiplayer actually.
it showed that they were changing the game up, they were making it better. But when you come to Cold War, it's just that people use it as a necessity. Like you could like legit heal and revive everyone across the map.
Hmm.
That's why in this it isn't about helping your teammates, it's about making sure that yourself is alive, not just like, oh, I'm just gonna revive some random guy who's in some room halfway across the map, you know?
Yeah, and they
It's
also charge a lot slower on this. Like
Yeah.
Cold War, you use Ring of Fire, and then you use like one clip of your ray gun, and then you use Ring of Fire again, and you use another clip of your ray gun, then you pull a war machine out, shoot a couple times, Ring of Fire. Whereas this game, it takes like a little bit to charge up the skull, and then or like whatever specialist you're using. But then when you get it, like it's just killing non-stop for a good amount of time. Also, I think the big difference there is the rounds are a lot shorter in Cold War than they are in this game, and ammo is also limited in this game. So the specialist system is more rewarding because you can't just spray bullets infinitely and not worry about it. Gobblegums are better than Fate and Fortune cards. Interesting. So you're neutral, and we both think Fate and Fortunes are better.
Yes.
I think the Fate and Fortune system is much better purely because the first five are free. Obviously, when you played Black Ops 3, it used to be 500 points per Gobblegum. It's not anymore because it's permanent free now. But yeah, you earned your Fate and Fortune cards. You didn't just spawn in round one, spin the machine, get a perkaholic, and you have all perks. And they're nowhere near as OP as the Fate and Fortune cards. The Fate and Fortune cards aren't as OP as the Gobblegums. The Fate and Fortune cards, it's like use a cool weapon for 60 seconds, insta kill, max ammo, that sort of stuff. There are some that are pretty good, but they're not on the level of here's every perk in the map. You can't die for 3 rounds. Skip the round kind of levels of overpowered. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're less pay
Um,
to win, which is a good thing.
yeah. Like you said, you can also refill your cards when
Yeah,
you run out.
limit of twice a game, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, limit twice a game. But with Gobblegums, yes, it's free every round, but it's a basically a gamble. You're gambling on what you want.
Yeah. Whereas you
You
can
can either get
choose with Fate and
yeah
Fortunes. Yeah.
yeah with Fate Fortune you can choose, but with Gobblegums, it's either success or you're messed up.
Yeah, literally. Also, I was going to say that Fate and Fortunes that you can only use 15 a game, 2 refills, and the initial 5 you have. Whereas this game you can use them infinitely, and they kind of become a crutch for high rounds.
Oh yeah,
Whereas in Infinite Warfare you can't use them as a crutch because you can only use them. You can only use 15, so they're not going to last you hundreds of rounds.
yeah.
I
Um,
assume Callum's impartial because of you haven't played
yeah,
much Infinite Warfare.
yeah.
I
I
also
mean,
like
I,
how
I'll
Callum.
like I'd say I'm in the middle, but I'm saying I'm more towards agree, mainly because of course I've played BO3 more. But
Hmm.
I like first of all like Perkaholic. It's a dream if you get it. It's not a guarantee, but you have like between the gobblegums that you have selected, you have a chance of getting Perkaholic, and it just makes life more easier when it comes to Perkaholic. But I mean that can also be outweighed with it's too OP. But
Hmm.
like I said, I don't really have an opinion on Infinite Warfare, so
I was gonna say before like Callum stated his statement in
Hmm.
Infinite Warfare. I like how there's not a card. It's like Power Vacuum. There's no card like Power Vacuum where you can stay in a corner and get
Yeah.
every drop in the game for a round. So it
Is
makes
it just
it
a round? I thought it was
such a
like
challenge.
it's 4 rounds, isn't it? Power vacuum.
Yeah, but it's like you get a drop each round, like everyone drop each round, and
Hmm.
it's basically insane. It's
Yeah, I
basically
agree.
unlimited ammo. You could spam everything.
Like if you have four
And
players,
it makes the game
you
so
can
easy.
run power vacuum and round robin, and as long as you have enough Gobblegums, you can go infinite rounds and get to 255 on 4 player just by skipping
Yeah,
rounds. It's kind of
just by
insane.
skipping rounds, you can do that pretty easily. And with zombies, I don't like a zombies game where it's easy. For example, Cold War.
Mm.
That's why That's why I dislike Cold War a bit. But with Infinite Warfare, it's a challenge.
Yeah, I agree. Having a crew is better than having operators.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this one's
No
pretty
shot.
self-explanatory. Operators, they need to record like 10 times as many voice lines, and they're not anywhere near as interesting. They're so generic, whereas a crew, you get very specific voice lines, you get actual intel, you don't have to collect 1,000 pieces of intel from the map just to know what's going on in the story. And the
Yeah.
crew has more banter between them, like, I am that duck, and those sort of lines that you get, which were so entertaining when you were playing Black Ops 3.
Yeah, with operators, you don't get the feeling that you can connect with them, like how we've had Primus and Ultimus for like 10 plus years. We
Mm-hmm.
were able to connect a bond between these characters, and that's what that feeling it drags you in to the story and how like the story between the crew, and you can see like the crew slowly getting closer together. How at the start they were all like, "What the fuck," but now as the years went on, they slowly got closer and closer, and basically were like best mates, obviously.
Yeah, even the crews that were just in one map, like the Mob of the Dead crew, it's still much more interesting than the operators, because like the operators don't really have conversations with each other. Whereas one of the best parts about like Black Ops 3, for example, is the characters will banter each other, and it's just funny to see in like higher rounds when you're just playing the game normally.
I'd like to add on to Mob of the Dead. Yes, we had the Mob of the Dead crew for one map, but they also were able to tie basically the whole story together. They were basically the main part for the Blood Vials. They
Hmm.
became they became the main thing, pretty much the main thing in the story, like one of the most important into the story. And that's what I like, how one crew can make a whole important thing into a story.
Yeah. Anything to
I'd
add,
rather.
Cal?
I mean, just in general, like crew, like you're not gonna like. It doesn't make sense to have, for example, I know it's like more newer, but like Scream running around trying to kill a zombie, whereas you've got these guys who are like, it makes more sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of like in a time period, whereas you've got Big Scream kicking about with a knife, making
And then zombie skeleton man and
yeah,
all the other weird skins you can get, the clowns from the
And then
bank
you
robbery.
got
just don't make sense.
And then you got Samantha, who looked like he's just
Yeah,
been
you
in the
get
middle of a
Samantha in the
marriage.
cutscene where Samantha is dying in
And
Forsaken, and
then
it's just like,
a
what's
bride
going on?
Samantha, like what?
The Chaos storyline was better than the Dark Aether storyline. Interesting. So I'm on somewhat agree. I think I'm the only person, you can correct me if I'm wrong, who's done all of the Chaos Easter eggs, right? Nine, Voyage, and Dead of the Night,
Yes.
and Ancient Evil. Yeah,
I've
I've done
done
all. I've done all four Easter eggs. I think the storyline was actually pretty entertaining. Towards the end, obviously it started off quite slow. The problem was Voyage and Dead of the Night are very hated maps. So two of the four Chaos story maps are very hated, which means people haven't done the Easter eggs. I think the way the story was going, where her father was captured, and then at the end you sort of find out that Bruno is infected, or I suppose Bruno has been infected the whole time, and Shaw becomes infected as well. And then Scarlet gets kissed, and like Diego's. So it sort of ends on a cliffhanger. I think everyone wanted to see what happened. And Ancient Evil did a very good job of being a very entertaining map and had some amazing characters with Pegasus. So and for me, Dark Aether just doesn't. It got. I think Forsaken was the only map where this storyline actually interested me. Like the first map, you just help a guy repair some machinery. The second map, Order. The third map is
Order.
You put some rocks on some zip lines and smash them together, so that you can fight Valentina. And then the fourth map was actually all right, but Samantha died. I mean, it is what it is. I guess it just felt a bit underwhelming to me.
Yeah, for me, my take on the Chaos
Mhm.
storyline is it confused me a bit. In 9, spoilers anyway. In 9, the characters get their head cut off, and then
Yeah.
they're into a mansion in Dead in the Night with Nosferatu's, wolves.
Well,
Uh,
9 is just a hallucination. They're in a temple and they inhale some fumes, and that's what 9 is. They
and
basically
then
hallucinate being in the past.
you got Ancient Evil. That map was just amazing itself. The storyline
Yeah,
was
you're not wrong. I mean,
strange.
the storyline is basically save Medusa. Well, you don't know it's Medusa. Save the woman trapped in the chair, who you spawn in next to, and you do that by killing Giganese and the big dude. I can't remember his name. Using Pegasus to help you, even though Pegasus technically is bad at the time.
But yeah, I just didn't really like the storyline. They really changed a lot within the storyline.
Fair enough. Callum?
I think Black Ops 4 in general, as a game, is just, in my opinion, I didn't like it. I didn't buy it. I didn't play any of the zombies map, but I watched like the the Easter egg as it went. I didn't like it. I mean, it just shows they didn't continue the story. Whereas the Dark Aether, they're kind of continuing it, but in like a prequel sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas BO4 is just like it
But I mean,
happened
there
and
was
then it
supposed to be another in Black Ops 4. There was supposed to be two more Chaos maps and two more Ether maps, but they basically got cut because no one liked the game, and then they had to
yeah.
make Cold War straight after. They didn't
Yeah.
really have time. The ray gun has been reused too many times. Interesting. Callum, you have the strongest opinion. We can start with you.
I mean, we had Raygun Mark II, Raygun Mark III, then we had the Ray K. It's just like you just need one gun. You don't need like four different versions of it.
The
It's just
Alpha Omega
unnecessary.
has 4 different versions of the Mark II as well. Don't forget
Yeah,
those.
yeah. It just reused. I know it's a good gun. Just keep with a simple ray gun. Like ray gun 1, ray gun Mark 2. I'll take those two, but the rest there's no need in it.
I agree.
Don't get me wrong.
I think Mark III could have been named something different. More, I think it could have been closer to Gersh, because of the effects that it gives is very similar to the way Gersh looks in the map. Um, I just think I understand it's like the first thing you think of when you think of zombies is ray gun, but it doesn't need to be in literally every single map apart from the chaos maps. Like you literally just put it in every single map. And some games, like this game for example, it's not a great gun to use. It's not terrible, but it's not amazing. Um, yeah, and I just think it's too overused. You don't need it in every game. I kind of like how it made a comeback in Cold War, but I would have rather just seen the actual wonder weapons of the maps be stronger, and just not had the ray gun, because like the die for example, just it's just not powerful enough. Like you basically need the ray gun to high round on Cold War. There's no diversity whatsoever.
Yeah, in this game, uh, they tried to nerf it a bit, so that the splash damage and all that.
It's still
But
useful
also,
though on like
it's still
shadows for
useful.
killing meatballs and
But
marquas.
on this game, you've got the likes of the Dingo, HVK, the KRM. On some guns, you got like the Thunder Gun or Pop. So it gives you high chance. Well, not high chance because you got the box randomizer, like the randomizing your chance. But you've got more use of different weapons other than the ray gun.
Hmm.
And like with Callum said, you don't have to have like Mark 3s, the ones from Alpha Omega, um, the Ray K. It's just you're just adding more and more into the pile.
Yeah, you're just calling it Ray something for the sake of it being the same
You're
brand.
just changing the name and then changing what type of weapon it is. Like the Ray K is an assault rifle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on.
Agreed.
Overused.
Map remakes are good.
Actually, now that I think about it.
Interesting. Right, I'm on somewhat agree. I think remakes are alright. Like, the remakes on this game, for example, are good. As long as they don't take away from development time on proper zombies maps. Like, remakes in this game are fine. But remakes in Black Ops 4, for example, I don't like because they're too similar to old maps we've had, but they're trying to sell them as if it's a completely brand new map, like Alpha Omega and Tag der Toten.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the features are different, but there's still a very similar layout to the map, and I prefer it if it's just a brand new map. But remakes are definitely okay as long as you do them the way that Chronicles did, essentially. Callum?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, you can have like the original and then also another remake in another game. But when it gets to a point like the Giant, I mean, how many times is that redone?
Yeah, on Nacht, yeah.
Yeah, you once redoing it once is alright, but more than that, nah, not my kind of thing. But I think some games they do require remakes. Of course, Chronicles it makes the game feel kind of like you're back in the original games, kind of.
But it also
It's
changed the
cool.
maps a little bit. Like, it
Yeah,
added to them by adding Gobblegums. It made the maps slightly more replayable, and they had a different spin on them. Obviously, different guns as well.
yeah, definitely.
The
This?
reason why I'm neutral is because, for example, Nact. So, Nact obviously is the first map that came in World at War. Black Ops 1, if you bought the 4th DLC, you got Nact for the Black Ops 1 weapons and also the Black Ops 1 system.
Mm-hmm.
And then, obviously, you didn't get it with Black Ops 2. You got it
Yeah,
with Black
you
Ops
did.
3.
Black Ops 2 was in transit.
Oh, yeah, Transit, but...
It's kind of separate, I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Black Ops 3, obviously, you got it with Zombie Chronicles.
And Revelations.
Yeah, and Rev. But Rev, it was kind of a small map. Yeah, you had to go in there to get to the pack. But in Zombie Chronicles, with the addition of the Gobblegums and with the Wonder Fizz, it just makes that map so much easier. I like it where it was like World at War. It's a challenge where there was no Gobblegums, no perks, because you could have.
I mean, you can just play it and not buy the Gobblegums or perks.
Yeah, but then you've got like the addition of your created weapon classes, where you got rapid fire, fast mags. That just changes the whole reason for NAC for me. And then you've got it on D Machine.
Yeah, and Forsaken as well.
And Forsaken, just remakes. They're good for a game, but if you take it as far as they went with Nact, and they didn't change a thing about it, which is okay for me, then yeah. And then you got the addition of Blood of the Dead. Blood of the Dead, they reuse mob obviously, but they've had new ways to travel around the map, new areas of the map, and there was new weapons and new perks in the game. So that changed the way Blood was for me.
Fair enough. Zetsubou is an underrated map. Interesting. Yeah, I definitely agree with this one. I think there's a lot of features on Zetsubou that a majority of player base don't know about, like the spider bait and the spider bait upgrade, for example. I think those are two really good features that are really fun, that most people don't actually know exist. The golden bucket as well is another one that is useful. A cool Easter egg that's pretty complicated that not a lot of people know about. I think this map has a lot of cool side quests. I think the main quest is relatively easy, but it still requires some team coordination, which is good. Like the challenges, you have to make sure you're doing them in the back of your mind. I think it got a lot of hate on launch because the game was very, very buggy, and a lot of people died to a lot of bugs. But if you play Zetsubou today, I just think I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as people made it out to be. To be honest, Lewis.
Yeah, I can agree on that statement. Zetsubou, like you said, has really good side quests like spiders, as you already mentioned. The map itself, the Thrashers are good mini boss. Um, the main boss fight, good arena, good camping spot as well. The Skull of Nansapui, really good specialist. And
Fits
the
the
way
lore
to
as well.
yeah, fits the map as well. And the secret behind Takio and with this map in general is just really good. And why
Yeah,
they
the
had
storyline behind the map is pretty interesting as
yeah.
well. I also like the aesthetic of the map. Like even standing here, looking around all the plants, like so much work goes into making the map look really good.
Like the amount of details they even put in like the plants in general,
Yeah.
like these plants, they have colors. It just makes the map so much brighter and more vibrant, in my opinion.
I agree. You're neutral,
Yeah,
Callum.
I'd say like the way that it's getting rated is just fine. I mean, I'd say it's pretty mediocre myself. I mean, there's definitely in terms of BO3, there's definitely better maps. I feel like it's in the middle of maps when it comes to BO3. I mean, yeah, I'd just say it's pretty mediocre kind of map.
Vanguard Zombies will be a success.
I'm gonna go. Oh no, you can't really go in the middle there. Okay.
Right. We'll start with Callum since he's somewhat agree.
I think it will be a success, but I mean, it's different. I mean, they're going into the occult. I mean, I know it didn't really go well with BO4 in like terms of complete success, but I feel like the way that they're going to be doing it is going to be based on like the Cold War kind of like storyline. I feel like it is going to be somewhat of a success. How far it will be, I mean, it's going to be seen, I guess, when it eventually comes out. But I think it definitely will be a success. Just the way it's different. Yeah, it's different with like a World War Two style. I know that like World War Two zombies in general wasn't that good either, but I mean. I think it will be a somewhat success.
Interesting.
Interesting. Yeah.
Personally, I'll go next. I'm on disagree. I think they're taking a big risk. They're coming off of Cold War, which I would say was pretty unsuccessful, and they're changing a lot of stuff again. And I think that there's no round-based map on launch, which is worrying for a lot of people because if it's similar to Outbreak, it could be really boring and not a great mode. And they haven't said anything about an Easter egg yet. If there's no main quest on launch, what are people going to do? Like, people are going to get bored pretty quickly if there's not much to do. And as far as we're aware, there's only one map with one mode, which is pretty crazy to me. I just think they need to split the map up, make survival maps out of it, add more modes, because otherwise, if you're just going to release one map, one mode, like imagine if they release a COD multiplayer and all you had was one map with TDM on it. People would be bored like after 2 days. There'd be nothing to do. You'd lose your mind playing the same map over and over again. It just wouldn't be fun. So I think, can it be a success? Yes. Will it be a success after Cold War? Probably not, because they didn't add enough modes to Cold War, even though they said they were gonna. So I can't believe that they're gonna add this many modes to this game either. Lewis.
Yeah, I can like kind of see where you're coming from, but in Vanguard, they added a lot of new things too. The Covenants, that's really interesting. Um, but they're bringing back the same armor system and salvage from Cold War. Um, perk fountains and new perks. I'm interested to see how they work.
Mm-hmm.
Fang, there's obviously like different areas of the map and new objectives, and also interested to see how the storyline will go down from Duranfang, from into season 1 and even plus into season 2. If there is any round-based maps, we'll see how that will work after Duranfang, but we'll just have to wait and see for the time to come.
Cool. That is all.